No champion is clad in big orange. The pitch. Swing and a miss. That's the ball game. The national champion is clad in big orange.
Summit and Destiny have met 7 times before. Tonight is number 8.
Tennessee Volunteers have wrapped up an SEC outright regular season title.
The SEC runs through Rocky Top. Tennessee wins the SEC regular season crown for the 2nd consecutive season.
The 1-0. In the air, left center field. Bronx on the move. Won't get there. Tennessee walks it off. It's a mismatch. Deep three. Come on now. And don't connect. Probably Draghi this time. Indeed. And New Hampshire. Booker. Down the middle. Got it on the fly. It's high and again. And he's going to take it. Touchdown, Tennessee.
How much fun is this?
Man, Rocky Top, college football at its absolute best.
This is college athletics at its absolute best. We are back. We're back in the home studio. My voice is coarse because, boys, I was yelling a lot yesterday. But welcome into another episode of the Fanatics Show. The day after the Gators and Tennessee squared off at a night game in Neyland. It was checker Neyland. It was everything you could ask for until the game started, and then we'll talk about it, all right? So I'm your boy Skylar, co-host Michael. How are we doing on the day after and the kickoff to Bama week?
So, man, you can't ever complain about beating Florida because it hasn't happened much in our lifetime. So can't complain about that. We're going to give our full feedback on it today, and then, hey, it's Bama hate week, man. So really excited about that. We're going to get into this full loaded show today. We are going to try to keep it a little bit brief. Do have some stuff with the fam going on after this, but we're going to make sure we get out the full Vol content today, man. How you doing? I could tell, like you said, your voice is a little bit hoarse, but hey, you gave your all for Tennessee yesterday, man.
Hey, man, we partied hard. We were down on Vol Navy, got the grandfather's boats in for the weekend, and honestly, we're going to keep it here all week till next weekend. Had a lot of people on the boat. It was a lot of fun. But, dude, about as best as you could ask for as far as a game day environment, right? You got the games that were leading up to our game, kind of once again another crazy type of Saturday, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but overall, got to spend it with the family, got to spend it with some work friends that we've done business for or done business with. Overall, at least in my game day experience, best you could ask for. Hands down, Vol Navy, if y'all have never gotten to experience anything like that, dude, you got to do it as soon as you can because there's nothing quite like it in America, in the world, honestly. We got some people tuned in on Facebook. Justin, thank you so much for tuning in. It's still reading Facebook user. I don't know why they're not changed it, but I've got the chat put up on my phone. We've got 7 people right now tuned in on the Facebook already. Guys, if y'all comment, please just put like a dash name so it helps Michael out because I don't know if he's got the stream pulled up, but I do have y'all pulled up. We've got another 5 people over on YouTube. Thank you guys for being tuned in. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the game because we are going to be recapping it here shortly. But before we do that, I want to let you guys know about who our show sponsor is. It's our presenting show sponsor, and that is Chris Smith Insurance. As a homeowner, Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company, so he decided to start an agency of his own, where instead of feeling like a company is fighting against you, you'll know that a company is fighting for you. Not all insurance is equal. Trust the Chris Smith Insurance today. I'm trying to find it. I actually had that remembered off the top of my list. Hang on. There we go. Top of my mind. Give him a call at 865-272-3387. Sorry, I didn't have my cue pulled up. I'm so sorry about that. But, yeah, thank you so much, Chris, for once again just showing your support for us and our channel. I'm sorry I butchered your commercial there, but I'll promise I'll get back to it. But Michael, we got a lot to talk about in this review, man. Because I kind of told you before we got on air, I said, man, it's hard because that was not a pretty game whatsoever.
Yeah.
But you've got like the analyst review, and then you've got like the Tennessee fan review. And I'll describe the difference right after you let us know who our segment 1 sponsor is.
Yeah, so quick rundown before I give our sponsor. Segment 1, obviously, we're going to give you our complete thoughts about last night's game. Segment 2, we're going to look ahead to Bama for this coming weekend, give our thoughts on that game as well. Segment 3, it is our pick segment. And segment 4, guys, we do have upset pick of the week. And Jake is supposed to be joining us again this week. We're going to be back on the train, raking with Jake, as you know, we still have a very good overall record picking games. So before we get into all that, our segment 1 sponsor, it is Optimal Asbestos Services, your trusted environmental consulting firm in Knoxville, Tennessee. State licensed and insured. We specialize in asbestos air quality management for commercial buildings and homes. You can contact Jeff Mull at 865-223-3297 or on the web at optimalasbestosservices.com. So let's get right into this, man.
Let's do it.
Tennessee pulls off the win 23-17 in Neyland Stadium. You mentioned it. This game was not pretty. Win is a win, especially against Florida. Tennessee has only beaten Florida 3 out of the last 20 contests, which is the only 3 times in my lifetime that I can remember Tennessee beating Florida. So, I mean, it's nothing to just scoff about that, you know, Tennessee beat Florida, but it's also one of those things where Tennessee was the better team. They should have won this game and not made it as close as they did.
100%. You're absolutely right. Look, that first half was atrocious. I mean, you came out of the gates exactly how you're supposed to. And just like 2022, you fumbled like Princeton Fant did. You fumbled when you're literally in the red zone to go up 7-0 on the first drive of the day, to really put your foot down immediately and set the tone of the game. That was frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I'm not using this whole young quarterback excuse, by the way, after this week. It's done. Because at the end of the day, 1, it's been overused. 2, at the end of the day, he is the starting quarterback for your university. I don't care how old he is. That means he is experienced and knowledge and skilled and talented enough to lead your team, regardless of how old he is. And he made a lot of mistakes yesterday. All right. Now, he's not the only one. The offensive line, not good. Our secondary, honestly, I have a hard take or hot take. Our cornerbacks are pretty solid. Our safeties, on the other hand, need some work. Really, really proud. I'm going to start with the bright spots. 1, defense. Defense has been the constant, the consistent, everything you can imagine for your defense. We generated pressure. We did give up a very frustrating 3rd-and-18 with 30 seconds left to go in the game. That was frustrating. But overall, I mean, Florida was in the red zone like 5 times in the first half and only came away with 3 points. I don't see how that's even possible. I rewatched the first half literally last night, like 2 a.m. in the morning. And I still don't see how that happened. Like them fumbling the ball at the half-yard line. I mean, it's crazy how that happened. The clock management by Florida there, they got, I think it was an injury at the end of the half and kept them from being able to kick a field goal. Like it was just, or it was an offensive penalty or something like that.
Yeah, it was 12 men on the field, illegal substitution in Florida. And then technically, because Tennessee obviously accepted the penalty, otherwise field goal would have been good. But then because the clock was running, they had already used up their timeouts. The 10-second runoff, they can't call a timeout to keep that from happening, so the half is over. Pretty crazy. But, you know, you mentioned the fumble at the half-yard line. That's, 2 or 3 times this year Tennessee has forced a turnover when the opposing team has had the ball inside the 5-yard line, but I think inside the 3-yard line that they've done it. It happened against Oklahoma. Did it happen against Arkansas too, maybe, or maybe twice against Oklahoma?
I can't remember it.
It might have only been twice this year, but anyway, you did it last night. You did it against Oklahoma. So the defense, as you mentioned, has stepped up big, especially at defensive line. But a concern I have on the defense is you mentioned the safeties there, but they are starting to give up a lot more bigger plays. They're giving up more yards, but they're not allowing points. And, points is where it gets you. And I'd love to know the stat. I don't have it off the top of my head, but Tennessee is one of a very few amount of teams in the country that have not allowed 20 points in a game this year. So, I mean, that's something Tennessee can hang their hat on right now, but there's still a lot of issues with this team that need to be fixed. And that is going to start with the offensive line, man.
Absolutely.
Something has got to give there. I mean, I don't know. Is it coaching? Is it the guys maybe when they get out there just not taking what they have learned and applying it to that game? What are your thoughts, Skylar? Because I put in the title, is it panic time yet? Because Tennessee had such high expectations. They proved so much over the first couple of weeks. Now, granted, NC State is not near as good as we thought they were. You also played against UT, Chat, and Kent State. Not very good teams. Oklahoma, we gave it a pass because Heupel said, hey, we dialed it back because our defense was playing so well. Well, you've also played 2 straight games where one of them you didn't even score 20, and the other one it took overtime to score 20 points in an offense that was ranked top 5 in the nation going into yesterday's game. So is it panic time? I mean, what are your thoughts on some of this?
Yeah, I'll get to that here in just a second. Justin, back on Facebook, says Samson for Heisman, and I don't think he's wrong. The kid's got 15 rushing touchdowns in 6 games. I mean, the kid's on pace to score 30 rushing touchdowns. Is that normal? Tell me, is that normal? Is it normal to have that many rushing touchdowns this season? When's the last time that's happened?
Well, I mean,
Derrick Henry?
Samson is only 3 touchdowns away from breaking the Tennessee single season record for touchdowns in a season. And he probably would be a absolute front runner for the Heisman if it wasn't for the season that Ashton Jeanty is having out there at Boise State.
I don't care. He doesn't play the level of competition. I'm sure he's a dog. But if Tennessee finds a way to win 10 games this year, Samson better be in the top. He better be in New York. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Especially if he keeps this up, because right now, Dylan Sampson is carrying our offense. And I mean that with all due respect. That kid is literally carrying us.
And honestly, what quarterback this year has just absolutely shown out? There hasn't been one, in my opinion.
No. Sean Carpenter on YouTube says, what's up, guys? Go Big Orange. Love to hear the positively. It's me. Says Bama is ready. He said that like 3 weeks in a row, and I mean,
I want to come back to this comment in our segment. All right. I've got thoughts.
Robert, hey guys, longtime listener here, probably first listener that we had on the show. Says happy Sunday. Obviously, anytime you beat the Gators, it's a good day. However, deeply concerned about our offense. Shut out in the first half against the Gators,
and not just shut out against the Gators. This is 2 weeks in a row that Tennessee has been shut out at the half.
Says quite frankly, we're fortunate that Mertz went down in the third quarter. Could have been it absolutely. Anytime injury happens, of course, you can say could have, would have, should have. But, at the end of the day, it's not like I hate it for him. I hope he's healthy. But, it's not like we took him out in a dirty way. Like, it was a complete non-contact injury. It's a freak accident. I hope that kid gets treatment and he gets healthy because I believe it's his last year, and he's kind of been dealing with injuries his entire career. Yeah. And I do think he's a solid quarterback. And I don't think it's all darkness for Florida. I mean, DJ Lagway, I do think's a dog. I mean, he definitely made some freshman mistakes. We've seen that. Mm-hmm. But our defense did capitalize. So we got a couple more here. Justin on YouTube says he's a workhorse. Talking about Samson. Yeah, absolutely. Tennessee Football 247 on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Says, I was so happy last night. I think I was too if you take out the first half. Yeah. Because I think Robert says it best. I said that we have 2 ways to look at this: the analyst way or the fan way. And when you look at it in the fan way, I don't give a dag rabbit's rear end about rankings or stats or anything. We've only beaten the Gators in the last 19 years. twice. And now we just beat them for a third time in 20 years in 2 of the last 3 meetings and back-to-back in Neyland since 90 and 92.
Yep.
Brother, I wouldn't even thought of in the 90s. I mean, it's just crazy. I get it. It was ugly, and we're going to talk about why it was ugly. But at the end of the day, you beat the Gators, and that's your kryptonite team. That's the team. If you lose, your season goes mid. If you win, you still got all the endless possibilities in the world. Even with the loss to Arkansas, everything we want to accomplish is still in front of us, and we still control that destiny.
And that's exactly what we talked about last week. There's no longer East and West anymore, so this game doesn't mean as much for that standpoint as far as going to the SEC title game. Frankly, the SEC title game does not mean as much as it used to anymore either because of the 12-team playoffs. So, but we mentioned last week, this is such a big game because you said it. It determines the direction your season is going to go. You lose to Florida, and you could go 8-4, maybe even 7-5 this year. This win against Florida, you've still got a possibility of finishing out with 1 loss, 2 losses, 3 losses is still on the table just based on who you have in front of you. But the direction the season goes can go in vastly different directions based on this game.
So to answer your question earlier, are we in panic mode? I'm going to say no. And the reason why is because if we had beat Arkansas and this game was still ugly, but we win, it's a completely different mindset. Everybody's got a completely different mindset.
Yeah.
But because we looked ugly as crap against Arkansas on the road at night for the second road game in a row at night, and then we come home and we still look ugly. Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, that Gator emblem on a uniform for some reason does play mind games with our university. It doesn't matter who's our coach. It doesn't matter who's our players. At the end of the day, Gators have something against us. It's probably what Vanderbilt has against Kentucky. Anyways, something about it. So the fact that we got through these guys, the fact that we got past them, yes, it was ugly, but by God, when we needed to step up, they stepped up, made some plays. And the other reason why I'm going to say it's not panic time, our defense is still consistent. Yeah. It's one thing if we were scoring 40 points a game and our defense was giving up 45 points a game.
2022.
Yeah, at that point, I say we're panicking a little bit because we can't stop anybody. It doesn't matter how our offense does. Well, now we can stop somebody, and it almost doesn't matter. I mean, as long as we score 20 points, literally, if we score 20 points a game, we are undefeated right now.
Yeah, all right, so this is not being talked about enough right now just because of how ugly the game has looked. This is the second time in Heupel's career at Tennessee that he has won a game by not scoring 30 points.
Yes.
And to show that he can, or I take it back. This is now the third time he's done it.
Yeah, he did it at Oklahoma and then he did it now. He's done it twice this season.
Yeah, twice this season. So this
A&M last year.
Yeah, this proves that Heupel's team does not have to score a lot of points to win now because the defense is a lot better. And I'm also going to answer the question. I don't think it's panic time either because of everything that you said. So I'm going to rephrase. Should we be concerned? Because personally, I am concerned. The defense, I'm not concerned about. But I don't know. You still got Alabama on the schedule. You've still got Georgia on the schedule. And frankly, you still have Kentucky on the schedule, who I'm not concerned as far as their offense. But their defense.
You better start looking out for Vanderbilt.
Oh, yeah, Vanderbilt too. Vanderbilt too, absolutely. I said it last night to a buddy of mine. I said, man, Vanderbilt concerns me this year too.
Well, so the way they handled the last week, and I'm talking about Vanderbilt here, with all the high, I mean, they're on The View, they're on like all these different shows. I mean, it's basically studio media. You brought California into Nashville for a week, and yet somehow Clark Lee was able to dial that team back down, get them refocused, and still went out and beat Kentucky.
On the road, mind you.
Well, I mean, just 15 miles north, but yes, sure. Every game's a road game for Vanderbilt. Like, let's be honest.
That's true. Yeah,
I don't really take that into consideration as much, but just the fact that he was able to refocus his team and not have a letdown week after they just had the highest of highs, beating a number 1 ranked team in the nation. But I mean, Tennessee Football 247 says it best. He said Alabama looks ugly too, and you're right, because they didn't just struggle. I mean, they lost to Vanderbilt and then turn around and was a 2-point conversion away from going to overtime with South Carolina. That's not even a rivalry game. You know, it's one thing. I mean, Florida-Tennessee is a rivalry game, and that's what I'm going to chalk this up to, right? Because the rivalry brings out the best in the worst teams, right?
Yep.
And so Alabama's got some issues too. I'm not saying that, you know, we should jump on that. Like, we have our own, but I am concerned to your point.
Yes.
I think it's hard to be halfway in the season, even if you're undefeated, and not be concerned about something. But Nico not throwing for 200 yards in the last 4 games now is very concerning. I mean, we're talking about a guy who we said can make every throw, and in the last 3 games, I don't know what throw he can make, because at this point, he's overthrown more wide receivers than Joe did in the first 6 games. And we're not bashing him because he's a freshman, a redshirt freshman. I'm sorry, but the kid has had 2 full seasons to prepare, 2 full off seasons to prepare, and now he's got the keys to the ship, which shows me that he's got the talent and the belief in this team, and I need to see it. Like, I don't care how old he is. And I get it. He's not going to be a Heisman Trophy winner in first year. That's okay. But some of these people that he is missing are wide open. I mean, it's the same story. And you know how we always talk about this offense is so reliant on the run. They're relying on that freaking home run shot too. And if we're not hitting those, then we're not scoring. It is what it is. We are not the offense that is going to nickel and dime a defense to the end zone night in and night out. We have to capitalize on those 60-yard bomb plays. That's all I'm going to say about it.
But I'm glad that you brought that up, because this team has got to start hitting some of those passes in the middle of the field, hit the little short passes, and not just the screen passes out in the flat. Because the defenses that they're playing that not the prevent, but they're playing back towards the first down marker, because they know, hey, if we keep Tennessee in front of us, they're not going to hit or if they can't hit these shots downfield, all they're going to do is just throw stuff out in the flat. And if we keep them in front of us, we've got them stopped. So we've got to dial something up and start hitting these shots hitting these passes over the middle of the field. Do some drag routes, do some slants, do some little in-cut routes, something like that. You've got to start hitting those to open up everything else. Because right now, Tennessee's offense is stagnant because of what you mentioned. They're either going for the home run shot and they're not hitting it, or they're running the ball. And when you become one-dimensional, having to run the ball like that, teams are going to stop Tennessee, as they've done over the last couple of games.
Yeah, it's me is delusional. But sure, thank you for joining us. Says Milroe wins the Heisman next Saturday. Yeah, okay, buddy. He might have a great performance, but one good performance against Tennessee and a great first half against Georgia. I mean, I just feel like there's going to need to be a lot more after losing to Vanderbilt for him to win the Heisman. But sure. I think the last thing I'm going to close with here is, we concerned? Yes. Are we panicked? No. This was a rivalry game. We got past Florida. We beat them twice in a row now in Neyland. Yes, absolutely. We should all be happy today. Like, seriously. Like, we should all be proud. We're 5-1 going into Bama. I was hoping it would be a top 10 matchup, but we struggled against Florida, a rival game, and we dropped 3 spots in the AP poll. Alabama struggles with South Carolina and somehow stays right at number 7. Make it make sense. Don't worry about it. I'm not saying we're a top 10 team. We're not playing like it right now. But at the end of the day, the last thing I'm going to say about the offense, I think we're struggling too in the passing game. What happened to our tight ends? We were focusing our passing game around our tight ends the first 3 weeks of the year. And I can't remember a dialed-up play for a tight end in the last 2 or 3 games. I cannot remember.
You want to know why?
Like a seam where they fake blocking and then just like peel out, or a bubble, like anything. Like, we haven't seen it with Ethan Davis holding stays or Miles Kitselman. Where's Miles Kitselman?
You want to know why? Because we're having to keep those tight ends in to block, because our offensive line can't block anybody right now. And I'm trying to figure out what in the world the issue is with that. I really don't know. But, man, Lance Hurd and John Campbell Jr., our left tackle and our right tackle, they can't block anybody on the outside. I don't know what it is right now. And then John Campbell last night, every single time that Nico scrambled, holding. I think he had 4 holding calls last night. Every single one of them.
In the first half, it was like every big play we got, there was a freaking flag. Now, I mean, Yeah.
And even that last drive in a regulation after the review showing that a squirrel caught the ball, you get the holding call on Nico's scramble that all you got to do is run maybe 2 more plays and you're in field goal range, but that holding call sets you back. You have to run the
One of
clock
those
out.
holding calls was complete bullcrap. I mean, they showed the replay of the hold, and the dude got double teamed, and he stayed squared up with him the entire way. I just didn't understand it. I mean, how many how do you call this? Like when the play is in play, like when the ball's in play, how many penalties were called against Florida when the ball was in play?
I haven't even looked at it, but it's not many.
I don't know. I mean, almost all of Florida's penalties were pre-snap or post-snap. But yet Tennessee, anytime they made a big play or anytime Nico scrambled, there was a hold every time. Now, and they didn't call a single pass interference, which that's fine. If you're not going to call it both ways, that's totally fine. It's a coach's job to adjust to that. But at the end of the day, these refs were, I mean, I don't know. It's weird. It is what it is. We got the win. Tennessee gets past Florida for just the third time in the last 20 years. All right. I'm happy because honestly, I thought we were losing this game. I'm not even going to joke with you. I know last week I predicted a win, but leading up to the game, I seriously thought that we were going to lose this game. And then like this season was pretty much going to be a waste. But right now we still have something to play for.
Hold on a second, because you might have sent me that wrong. You sent me last week that Florida was going to win.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then there it is. I mean, and you know in my heart that I was right then. I mean, I really thought we were going to drop this game, dude.
Yeah. And that's fair. I mean, last week I did not feel good about this game, but you know, I'm going to end with a positive note here, just like you did. A win is a win, especially against Florida. You mentioned it. It's only the third time in the last 20 years that we've beaten Florida. And you said 2 out of the last 3. So, I mean, we got to take something away from that. And it's a positive. You mentioned we're going 5-1 into the Alabama game. It should be a top 10 matchup. And we still got everything on the table in front of us for the rest of this season. So I'm happy about that. Let's get ready to talk about some Alabama, man.
Let's do it. So our segment 2 sponsor is P&L Business Services. We know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business services right is critical. That's why at P&L Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love most, which is building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. Reach out to PNLBusinessServices.com for more information. It's literally just PNLBusinessServices.com. Thank you so much for being our segment 2 supporter. And without further ado, we're gonna break down this Bama, this Tennessee, this third Saturday in October matchup. It is unfortunately not a top 10 matchup, but it is a 7 versus an 11.
And
Buck Fama.
Missed you two's in with that one. So that's the theme of the week, man. But I want to go back to this comment right here from It's Me. Bama is ready.
I hope they are.
No, they are not. But
I hope they are.
Tennessee is not ready either. I'm just gonna be frank about it.
Is this the best/worst anticipated third Saturday in October ever? Because let's be honest, Tennessee's not been in a position to only have one loss against Bama quite regularly. I mean, obviously 2 years ago they were undefeated going into the game, and that was the most anticipated. But I'm saying it feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, it feels like we already have 2 or 3 losses. I think Bama would feel the same way. I feel like Bama fans even feel like they probably should have 2 or 3 losses up to this point now. And so it's like both of these teams don't feel like they're as good as the record shows as they go into this weekend, which kind of makes this matchup a little bit more intriguing, but not in an exciting way. Just like who's the worst team rather than who's the better team.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Tennessee over the last 2 weeks just not look good. Now, their defense has looked almost untouchable at times, but at other times they've looked a little bit suspect. But you know what? They're not giving up a lot of points. Tennessee's offense is the one that should be on fire, and we haven't seen that offense show up since Kent State in week 3. Bama, on the other hand, their offense at times has looked really good. They've looked on fire. But their defense, which has been their calling card for so long under Nick Saban, doesn't have Nick Saban anymore. This is not a Nick Saban defense, and it has looked suspect for the last few weeks. Vanderbilt absolutely carved them up for 43 minutes of that game. We talked about it last week. Vanderbilt had the ball for 43 minutes against Alabama. I heard it yesterday. They were 12 of 18 on third downs. Vanderbilt was against Alabama. That is unheard of against an Alabama defense. So Alabama has a lot of question marks on defense. Both of these teams have so many question marks. I don't know how this game is going to go. You have got a strength of Tennessee's defense going up against a strength of Alabama's offense. And on the other side, you've had a struggling Alabama defense going up against a struggling Tennessee offense. I really don't know what's going to happen in this game.
I mean, I have a feeling, and it's not a good one, because I truly believe in our defense.
Yep.
But I have a feeling that this could get ugly. I hope not. But at the end of the day, it seems like Bama's kind of got it in that old feel back to him. And I know they just lost to Vanderbilt, but like they got that star receiver again in Ryan Williams. How good does Gerard McCoy or Ricky Gibson lock him down? Because that's going to be a massive key to this game. If we can slow him down, I believe in our running game better than Alabama's running game, because Bama has to rely on Jalen Milroe to run the ball. Their leading rusher is Miller. I don't know his first name, but Miller. He's got 51 carries, only 360 yards, and 5 touchdowns on the season. Let me compare that to Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson has more than twice as many carries at 118. He's got more than twice as many yards, or right at twice as many yards at 699 yards. And he's got 3 times the touchdowns at 15 touchdowns. I mean, our running game is night and day difference to Alabama's. But Alabama, of course, does have Jalen Milroe. The passing game, Jalen Milroe has the edge there. He's got 132 attempts for 1,483 yards, 12 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. So a 3-to-1 ratio in touchdown to interception ratio. Nico has 143 attempts for 1,200 yards and 7 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. We're going to need to see Nico come out of his shell a little bit. He's going to have to trust his eyes. He's going to have to be confident. I think, unlike Florida, I think we need that first drive to be a touchdown. Really boost that confidence. Because, dude, if you rewatch that first drive against Florida, he was confident. The ball was coming out of his hands. He was rolling out, making plays, seeing exactly what needed to happen. But then he fumbled a read. And it's like his confidence left the building. Yeah. We cannot have anything like that happen. He is young, and confidence is a real thing when you're young. I know he seems cool and calm, and nothing really affects him, but that affected him last night. And so we're going to need to come out swinging. I truly believe in our receivers if they're healthy. Chris Brazel's special. We just got to throw it up to him. Dante Thornton is a home run ball. Brew McCoy is our most freaking physical receiver. We're just not being able to get them the ball. I mean, I even talked about Squirrel White. Squirrel White had freaking like 70 yards on 5 catches last night. So we just got to get our receivers the ball, help Dylan Sampson open up that box so that we can get that running game going. Alabama's defense is not good. Not the greatest. No, not the greatest. So I do see us being able to move the ball a little bit. But in order to really unlock our offense, I mean, like I said, we're going to have to let Nico work, and Nico is going to have to read his progressions. You can't look down a wide receiver and throw it into quadruple coverage. It's not going to work. Never will.
Yep, I completely agree with you. And, something that I didn't mention in our Florida recap was Brew McCoy did not even have a catch yesterday. He only got the ball one time. I believe it was either a screen pass that was ruled as a run because it was behind the line of scrimmage, or they might have done an end around. I don't remember. But he only got the ball one time last night in the game for 6 yards. Brew McCoy, in my opinion, other than Dylan Sampson, is your best weapon overall. Is he that home run threat? No. But nobody is going to tackle him the very first time that they come to him. He's going to break at least one tackle, and he's going to pick up multiple yards after the catch. You've got to find a way to get him the ball. As far as this game goes Saturday, I see it going one of 2 ways, because Alabama's defense is not very good this year, not anywhere near the level that it has been. if Nico is confident, if the offensive line gives him just enough time to look downfield, read the defense, and as long as he makes good decisions, Tennessee, I'm not saying they're gonna put up a ton of points on Saturday, but Tennessee can have success, and their defense is good enough that they can slow Alabama down enough. I've got the same concerns as you when it comes to Ryan Williams. I don't know how Gerard McCoy or Ricky Gibson are going to look defending him. Ryan Williams, in my opinion, will get his, but you've got to be able to slow him down a little bit. So I think that Tennessee can score enough and their defense can hold Alabama enough to get a win. Or if we see the same Nico, the same offensive line that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, I see Alabama scoring just enough to win.
You can't beat Bama with 20 points. I think you're going to have to score 30 to 35 points to beat Bama.
But
that's truly how I feel.
I agree. But no matter what, I don't see this game being a blowout in either direction. If it ends up being a blowout, something has gone terribly wrong for either one of these teams. So I think it's either a close win for Alabama, and by close I mean anywhere from 3 points to I'll go out to 14 points. I don't think it's any more than that right there.
Maybe a last fourth quarter touchdown to make it look a little bit bigger than what it was, or something like that.
Something like that. So it's either going to go Alabama by no more than 14 or Tennessee by no more than 14 in this game. I don't see a blowout.
I was going to say, right now, ESPN predictors got Alabama at a 53% chance to win. I mean, so almost right out of pick'em. I don't know if the line's 2.5 in favor of Bama.
I've looked on FanDuel and I don't even see a line yet for Tennessee, Alabama.
I think it's just that they're moving it so much. I don't know how. Both of these teams have lost a game they absolutely shouldn't have. And both of these teams have beat some pretty quality opponents. I mean, Oklahoma still finding their way. Florida, I think, is a decent team. And I hate to say that because I kind of said that about Oklahoma and they got ransacked by Texas. But Florida, I don't think it's a bad team, and I think they'll get a win. I mean, their losses up until then was Miami, and I think A&M. And A&M right now is undefeated in the SEC. They started out 3-0 in the SEC, and their only losses to USC in the very first week of the season. So A&M's won 5 straight since then. So, I mean, Florida, unfortunately, and we talked about this at the beginning of the year, they just have a really tough schedule. I mean, I think they're a solid team with or without Graham Mertz. I mean, obviously, I think they're better and more confident with Graham Mertz, but, either way, both of these teams do have that massive loss against teams that they should have absolutely not lost to. No disrespect to Arkansas or Vanderbilt. Y'all were double-digit dogs by a lot, and credit to y'all for getting the win. So anything's possible. Alabama has definitely not looked great the last couple of weeks. And I would even go back and say couple and a half weeks, because that second half against Georgia, other than the one play that got them the win, I mean, they looked bad. I mean, it was like an ultra conservative, don't lose this game type play calling, and it's I think affected the team weeks since then. And I hope it continues to affect them going into next week.
Yeah, it was definitely we're playing not to lose type mindset in the second half against Georgia. I said that after the game. I said, Georgia's defense is still suspect. They did make adjustments, but they weren't world beaters by any means. They shouldn't have held Alabama the way that they did in the second half. It was Alabama's play calling that led to Georgia's offense being able to score points and come back. It wasn't Georgia's defense just stopping Alabama. I did find the line. It is Alabama minus 2.5 right now. So, I mean, this is pretty much a pick'em game. Now, the kneeling factor will be a huge factor. I mean, it was against Alabama 2 years ago. That was
it was against Florida yesterday. I mean, the delayed games, the false starts, and the overtime. I mean, that was massive. That stadium got rocking last night. I mean, it was really cool to hear from Vol Navy. I mean, you knew when a big play happened, because obviously when you watch the game, I mean, on a streaming service like YouTube TV, you're already 15 to 20 seconds behind, and that's if it don't buffer if you're in some bad service or whatever. Yep. But you could hear it's third down, and then like if the crowd went crazy, you got a big stop or whatever. I mean, that was cool to hear, and kneeling got loud in overtime. I mean, it was. I think when Bryson Eason he's like stunted into the screen.
Yeah.
And as soon as he caught the ball, Bryson Easton tackled it for like a 5-yard loss. That place erupted when that play happened. I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, I thought it was a pick six in overtime, bro. I mean, it was insane. But what a play by Bryson Easton. Speaking of, one of the players that stepped up in that game. So, I mean, the kneeling effect's real. And it's the third Saturday in October. It's a mid-afternoon kickoff. That place is going to be rocking. I mean, there's no way it can't be. And that's why I think Tennessee needs to take every advantage of that in the first quarter. Don't start out slow. Don't give these fans a reason to quieten down. You know what I mean? And that's what they did against Florida. Florida almost worked it perfectly, but they couldn't capitalize. In the red zone 5 times in the first half, I believe, and you come away with 3 points.
And Florida, up to that game yesterday, was one of the best red zone scoring offenses in the nation. I think they had scored on all but maybe 3 possessions before that game in the red zone.
Not even going to talk about how Billy Napier should have been fired on the spot on the sideline last night, but somehow we never capitalized on their mistakes. But for Florida to go for it on 4th down, on 4th and an inch, and they went gun jet sweep, Billy Napier should have never called another play as a head coach for the University of Florida Gators. That is a quarterback sneak, easy first down every day of the week against the toughest opponent in America. You could run a quarterback sneak against Texas and get an inch, okay? Like, that play call made absolutely no sense. And then what do we do after that massive stop by our defense? 3 and out, punt it right back to him. Makes no sense, dude. Like, Billy Napier overcoached himself. Like, he was kind of working a gym there for a little while and then just made some dumb decisions, ultimately costed them the win.
But, you know, has that not been a theme for Billy Napier against Tennessee? I mean, 2022, he went for it on 4th down, 10 times in the game? Granted, they got about 4 or 5 of them, but the big ones that they didn't get ended up being
closer in the red zone.
The game.
Yeah, which is crazy because I think their field goal kicker was also automatic inside 40, 45 yards. I think he had not missed. And then last night, of course, in overtime missed, which I'm okay with. One thing I do want to talk about in closing this segment, because we do got to wrap up and get to our picks. Keenan Peely went down.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up.
We need to figure out what his health status is. But on top of that, very, very proud of how our linebacker stepped up. Because, man, against Arkansas, we had communication problems out the wazoo. But Arian Carter stepped up in a massive way. Jeremiah Thielander, in a massive way, played so well last night. Gives me so much confidence. Now, Jeremiah Thielander and Arian Carter, same age, right? But Arian Carter got the nod ahead of Thielander, but Thielander did not let that bother him one bit. He knew that he was the next man up, and he showed it last night. They played so well, and I hope they can keep that going. Arian Carter's interception.
Oh, my word. That was
picture-perfect defense. I mean, picture-perfect defense. I mean, if we can get that out of those guys, you're talking about a way to pick up Keenan Peely, and they did it. So I just wanted to massive shout out to those guys. Again, our defense is solid. I think our safeties are a weak link right now, but our cornerbacks lock down cornerbacks. Our linebackers are showing improvement despite Keenan Peely going down, and our defensive front, guys. I mean, come on, we're still one of the best in the nation on our front. So very, very proud of how they stepped up as far as the linebackers last night.
Yeah. So real quick, because we try to do this each week, keys to the game. Tennessee wins if. And I'll go first with mine.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tennessee wins if they can actually move the ball on offense. You've got I'm not worried about our running game because we got Dylan Sampson. He's going to get his, but Tennessee has got to have success in the passing game. I'm not saying you've got to hit the home run shots. You need to hit 1 or 2 of them, maybe 2 or 3 of them, but you've got to be able to hit stuff in the middle of the field. That way it opens up everything else. Defensively, I'm not worried about our defensive front. But our linebackers and our secondary are going to have to step up in a big way this coming weekend because, you know, Jalen Milroe, he can do it with his legs. So our linebackers are going to have to make sure that they stay home. They don't go too far out. They don't let Milroe pick up those big conversions. That's what I'm afraid of with a mobile quarterback and have been for a while with Tennessee. You've got to stay home. You've got to make sure he doesn't pick up those big plays with his legs. And also the secondary, you've got to at least slow down Ryan Williams. I think Jermon McCoy and Ricky Gibson, they are 2 of the best corners in the SEC right now after the first half of the season. But they have not faced a guy like Ryan Williams yet. So you've got to have a huge game. The safeties are going to have to step up in this game. I agree with you. That's the weak link of our defense right now, and they're going to have a huge game if they're going to beat Alabama on Saturday.
All right, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. You mentioned something earlier in the show that the defense is great because even though they've been bending very far, I mean, at this point we've got like that. What do you call that fishing pole? That flex fishing pole that like literally the tip of the fishing pole can hit the handle and it not. You know what I'm talking about? Like
I know what you're talking about. I can't think what the name of it is.
That's gonna irk me because I had one growing up. But that's exactly what our defense is. That's not going to continue to work. I'm sorry, but you've got to get off the field on third down. You can't allow a team like Florida, a team like Arkansas, to have the ball consecutively 7-minute, 8-minute long drives. It's not going to work. Ugly stick, says Justin. Thank you. Our defense is an ugly stick defense. It says it on Facebook right here. I knew I wasn't stupid. All right. But you can't do that. 2 reasons. 1, your defense is going to get tired. I don't care how deep you are. 2 reasons. You're not allowing your offense. It's basically like restarting the game with your offense if you're out on the sideline for 8 minutes at a time. And then you're coming right back in. Basically, 8-minute drive, let's be honest, is about 15 to 20 minutes of real time, if not longer. And you're coming right back into the game and you're cold, dude. Like, it doesn't allow your offense to get in rhythm. So we cannot allow that to happen. It happened against Florida. It's happened against Arkansas. Cannot allow that to happen against Bama. So time of possession is a thing, and we need to get off the field on third downs. We got to win first down on offense and on defense.
Yes.
Get them behind the sticks, and we better not ever get behind the sticks because we struggle once we get behind the stick. And I don't even necessarily mean negative plays. I mean, because it is what it is if you get stuffed on 1st and 10. It's going to happen. I'm more mean, like, by God, if we don't get freaking set and we get a false start when we're trying to go tempo, that's the most frustrating thing. By God, if Nico rows out and ends up throwing a 50-yard dot, right, on the run, and then it gets called back for a holding. Like, stuff like that cannot happen if you want to beat a team like Alabama, all right? So that's my 2 keys to the game. And the third, I'm going to go with special teams because our special teams offensively has been amazing. We've been pinning people back in the 10-yard line, 5-yard line like it's cake, like it's clockwork. Like, I've never seen a punter be able to do this as consistently as it's not Jackson Ross. It is Jackson Ross. Thank you. I was thinking I was thinking of Josh Irvingville, but yes, Jackson Ross has done it like clockwork. But I've seen some flaws in our defensive special teams that I don't want to see anymore because we've got the field. I mean, Florida somehow miraculously, even after 2 massive, well, they actually did capitalize on the one, after 2 massive returns late in the game, like, we can't allow that to happen. We got to stay in our gaps, contain, and field. So, I mean, special teams, first downs, and then defensively, got to get off the field on third downs. Got to get off the field on third downs. Cannot allow them to hold the ball away from your offense.
Yep. Completely agree. So that is our Alabama preview. Let's get into our pick segment, man. But before we do that, our segment 3 sponsor is Kaizen Painting. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen Painting is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate at KaizenPainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen way. And Skylar, we got another big slate of games this week.
It's probably the biggest of the season, if I'm not mistaken. I know that's kind of like opinionated statement, but there's some big games this weekend.
Yeah, there were some big games this past weekend, but this weekend has got a huge slate of games as well. And we're going to start off the day with Auburn against Missouri. This one is at 12 Eastern time on ESPN. This one intrigues me because personally, I don't think Missouri is anywhere near as good as what they were expected to be this year.
I agree with that.
But Auburn, on the other hand,
especially with the cake schedule they got, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Eli Drinkwitz has fumbled this coaching job after last season.
We said it at the beginning of the year that Missouri had to be almost perfect because they've got to win the games that they're supposed to win because they don't have the strength of schedule to make up for it. So if it comes down to it and they're 10-2 at the end of the year, they're probably not getting into the playoffs because their strength of schedule is not there. Auburn, they're also not playing as well as the hype around Auburn this year was supposed to be. I don't know what that quarterback situation is looking at. I think they've gone back to Peyton Thorne for good, but I don't trust Peyton Thorne. So this game, I will go Missouri to pick up the win. They also get the game at home.
Yeah, Missouri obviously struggles. Auburn's just turning the ball over so many times. They probably only be a one-loss team at this point if they'd not turned the ball over as many times as they have. I mean, against Oklahoma, you had that in the bag. And you throw a pick six and late in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's just they can't get out of their own way. But here, I think they can flip the script. Something just happened. Did somebody just follow us or something? Whatever. I think this is where they flip the script. I think Auburn Tigers actually beat the Missouri Tigers this week. I think they kind of get it done, something about it. I've got to make up some picks here because we're halfway through the season, and I feel like you're beating the crap out of me here.
We'll get to that later.
No, you shut your mouth. But I think Auburn and Hugh Freeze gets it figured out, and they beat Missouri. Missouri just doesn't look impressive to me. I mean, they played UMass at UMass, by the way. What are we doing? Week 7 of the season going to UMass as an SEC team. Like,
Skeeter, what's the deal, man? Come on.
Like, what are we doing here? But anyways, I'm taking Auburn.
All right, so next game on the slate. This is another intriguing one to me. South Carolina traveling to Oklahoma. This game is at 12:45 Eastern time on the SEC Network. You want to go first on this one, or you want me to?
Yeah, I figured it out. Jake shared the show. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate that. I don't know why that one came in. I'm sure other people have. But anyway, South Carolina, Oklahoma. Really liking the way South Carolina's playing right now. And Oklahoma really kind of dudded against Texas, which kind of shocked me a little bit. I mean, Oklahoma typically plays their best ball against Texas, and they didn't. South Carolina looked really good against Alabama, but they made a lot of mistakes. I think they would have beat Alabama if it weren't for turning the ball over, making some dumb penalties. I mean, South Carolina literally had every opportunity in the world to win that game. And the 2-point conversion guy's wide open. But, I mean, Lenore Sillis, for some reason, just airmails it about 10 yards, maybe even 15 yards over the guy in the end zone. Unpopular opinion. I'm going to take Oklahoma in this game because I think they need to bounce back a lot harder than South Carolina. One, I'm just never a believer in Shane Beamer. But two, Oklahoma just if they don't beat South Carolina, one, it's at home for Oklahoma. But two, Brent Venables is going to be dealing with a lot if they don't pull out this win as far as from his fan base and from his department.
Yeah, especially because they gave Brent Venables an extension before this season started.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, what are we doing there? I mean, he's been there, I believe this is his second season, and nobody was coming after Brent Venables. So why the extension? But this game is going to be a very low-scoring game. Both defenses are very good, especially Oklahoma's. And I also wonder, does Oklahoma go back to Jackson Arnold after the performance that Hawkins had yesterday against Texas? I mean, he didn't look comfortable yesterday. So I think that there could be a quarterback controversy in Oklahoma. But you hit the nail on the head. Home field advantage will play a part in this game, even though it is at 12:45. This game, I am going to take OU in a close one. Very close.
Why would you take the same daggone pick I take? That's unfortunate.
Don't worry, we'll get to some difference of opinion.
Robert says it's a toss-up game, and I think he's absolutely right on this. Oklahoma's horrible on offense. Don't know how they can fix their offensive issues. I think they go back to Jackson Arnold. I think they pulled Jackson at a very unfair point. I get it. He made some dumb mistakes. But I think people are also underestimating how good our defense is. And, I mean, guys, he got benched. I mean, it's basically playing. I mean, at the time, it was a top 5 or top 10 team. I can't remember what we were ranked. But Jackson Arnold struggled against a really good defense, and then they yank him immediately. I mean, I don't have anything against the freshman that stepped in. I think he showed a spark, but I think it's easy to show a spark when a team's never freaking prepared to play that kid. So I don't know, but I think at this point you've done shot Jackson Arnold's confidence. I mean, he may be checked out. We don't know. We don't know. But who knows?
Yep. Next game. Next game, it is our boys, Alabama versus Tennessee. This is at 3:30 Eastern on ABC, the lead up to the Georgia-Texas game. We said earlier, Alabama is a 2.5-point favorite, and I will go first on this one because I'll go ahead and put the ball on the tee for you. Right now, I don't trust Tennessee's offense. I trust our defense, but I'm concerned about who is going to cover Ryan Williams and how well of a job are they going to do against Ryan Williams. Tennessee has also struggled in the past against mobile quarterbacks. I said it earlier. This is going to be a close game regardless, within 14 points, but I do have Alabama winning this game. I told you I was teeing it up for you, man.
The silence is so loud, dude.
Yep.
Wow. Jeremy Jones has liked the show. We appreciate you for doing so.
Obviously, I'm going to be rooting for our boys to win. But
it doesn't sound like it.
Hey, you also picked Florida last week, so.
And I was almost right. Jeremiah on YouTube says, I hit 11-game parlay. I was worried about Tennessee, but I'm glad they pulled it out. Whoop pig. Man, 11-game parlay. That's insane, bro. I bet the odds on that was like 10,000.
Hey, real quick plug right here, Jeremiah. Stick around because we will have Rakin with Jake today. And Jake has been on a roll here. Just look at some of his picks as well, and you'll probably win you some money doing that as well. But I'll go ahead and let you get to your pick.
Well, I mean, the boys are going to get it done. Tennessee Vols, look, they look ugly. I get it. But look, Florida is Tennessee's kryptonite. I don't care how ugly we look against Florida. A win is a win when we're playing Florida. That's pretty much the only team I'm going to say that about. Maybe Alabama. But even Alabama, if we were to win the exact same way, I'd be like, I just don't feel as good about it. But against Florida, the way they've owned us, we got past it. I mean, look, let's be honest here. Peyton Manning never beat Florida. So we got past Florida. The boys are going to figure it out. One, you didn't mention the most important thing. The kneeling effect, dog. Like they come here. All right? They came here. Correct me if I'm wrong. They couldn't even win on the road at Vanderbilt, dog.
Hey, they almost couldn't win at home against South Carolina yesterday either.
I'm just saying, there was pretty much a home game in Nashville for Alabama, and they couldn't even win. Look, I think they beat Georgia, and right now they got so high. I don't think Kalen DeBoer is able to bring these kids back down. And I'm hoping that he still struggles that for another week. And Tennessee, on the other hand, don't need to freaking turn the ball over, and I think they'll be all right. But I do think that Nico's cage got rattled when he fumbled a read option. I mean, it wasn't even a throw. I mean, he fumbled the freaking read, and I think that just killed his confidence. I think we start out fast against Alabama. Their defense is suspect. I think we can move the ball against them, and that'll make me feel so good because our defense, I think, can hold Alabama to under 30 points. It's just about who can get to 30 first. Yeah. So give me the boys. Give me the boys because we're at home. Give me the boys because I'm there. Give me the boys because, by God, I hate Alabama, and I ain't choosing Alabama, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope Tennessee wins, and I'm going to be rooting for them to win. I'm going to, on the sports book, I'm going to pick Tennessee to win the game. But in this pick segment where there's a round of golf on it, right now, I'm not trusting.
My man has his priorities set. Round of golf is more important than winning money, fellas. Like, that is how our priorities are set, dude. I love it. I like it. All right.
Yeah, man.
Justin on YouTube or Facebook says goalposts are already ordered. No, they're not, dude. If we beat Bama, we're not pulling down the goalposts.
This is not a Nick Saban coached Alabama
exactly,
team, so.
Exactly. And it's an Alabama team that's already lost to Vanderbilt. At this point, we're expecting to win because we can't let little brother have something that we don't, and that's a win over Alabama. Matt comes in on YouTube. Thank you so much for tuning in. So that was a rough game to watch. It was because it was Florida. Like, we won. Like, just that's it. I don't care. I don't care how it looked. I do as an analyst. I do. And I do as a coach. But I'm not either one of those. I'm a fan. And we beat Florida for the second time in the last 3 years and the first time back-to-back since 90 and 92. Give me all of that. I don't care. Robert says, dang, guys. I was so excited about this game and truly believe the Vols could beat Bama until the last two games. And the Vols have played. The last 2 games the Vols have played. Come on, Vols. Let the offense be there and play compete. And that's it.
Yes.
He nailed it. If the offense can move the ball, and I just said that, I believe in the defense to hold them under 30, even with Ryan Williams, because honestly, Alabama ain't got the best running game. I mean, it's all going to be on Milroe and Ryan Williams.
Yeah, and if you sit here and if you told me today Tennessee's offense is going to move the ball against Alabama this weekend, my pick would be changed. I would say that Tennessee wins the ball game. But until they show me that they can move the ball on offense, I don't trust Tennessee's offense right now. I trust our defense. But do they score more than Alabama does? I mean, this weekend, this will be the first time that Tennessee gives up 20 points in a game. But I agree with you. I think we can hold them under 30. That's why I think it's going to be a close game regardless. But next game, it is Texas A&M against Mississippi State at 4:15 Eastern on the SEC Network.
You want me to go first? This entire season, I thought Mississippi State's the worst team in the world. But my God, did they look really good against Georgia. By the way, Georgia didn't even move down after only a 10-point win against Mississippi State. So whatever. It's like everybody can struggle in the world, but if Tennessee struggles, we get punished. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Give me A&M. I can't do it, dude. I'm sorry.
No, it's A&M's going to win this game.
Yeah, I wanted to pick Mississippi State so bad. And I do think Van Buren is that dude, but I don't think that they can beat A&M.
Look, Georgia yesterday, they played down to their opponents. That's what they do every time. That's why I didn't touch the game on the sports book yesterday, because I had a feeling that Georgia would do that. But I also knew that Georgia could go out and they could beat Mississippi State by however much they wanted to. But they played down yesterday to their opponents. They made Mississippi State look better than they are. Texas A&M's defense is the real deal, and their offense is improving week by week. Texas A&M wins this game big.
Right on. I like it.
All right, so we have got LSU against Arkansas in a very intriguing game on 7 Eastern time on ESPN. Do you want me to go first on this one?
Yeah, I want to hear it because I went first in the last one. Yeah, I want to hear your.
Give me the Hogs, man. Arkansas.
Oh, screw you. I wanted the Hawks. I should have went first.
Arkansas has turned out to be a much better team than everybody expected this year. Their defense is very solid. Like I said last week, they're not an elite defense, but they are a very, very good defense. And their offense under Bobby Petrino this year has looked a lot better. Taylor Green, although he makes mistakes at times, he is also a very talented quarterback, and they also get the game at home. LSU has not impressed me much this year. They squeaked one out last night against Ole Miss.
They did come from behind against Ole Miss.
They did, but LSU has not impressed me so far this year. So give me Arkansas to win this game.
Yeah, I want to start out by saying Hogs win this game if they don't turn the ball over. But I'm gonna assume that they will, and so give me LSU here, just to be different from you, really. But Hogs win this game if Taylor Green doesn't make any bad decisions, plays a clean game. Arkansas does have a good team all around. LSU has a couple playmakers. Garrett Nussmeier, if he's on, he's on. If he's off, he's very mid. So it just really depends on how they do. But I do trust Garrett Nussmeier to protect the ball a little bit more. But overall, if Arkansas take care of the ball, they will win. But I'm taking LSU to be a little bit different than you. And hopefully, I mean, if LSU wins this, they have a real shot of being one of the top teams in the SEC. I mean, just looking ahead, they have a couple of tough opponents. But, I mean, they got past Ole Miss, who I didn't think they would. And, they would be undefeated in the SEC if they can get past Arkansas. So,
which is funny because that's the one game that you picked different from me that you won last week. You picked LSU to win. So.
And I truly believe that because I was going back and forth with my dad last night. He was like, Ole Miss is winning. There's a funny story about that. I'm going to tell it really quick. But he got back from the Tennessee game. He walks in the houseboat, and Ole Miss is winning in the fourth quarter with like a minute to go. He was like, you going to let me know that I'm right? Like strutting around, because, Ole Miss is winning. And I'm like, boy, LSU, they're driving on you. It got to fourth down, and I don't know how. I mean, it was very reminiscent of freaking Tennessee, Florida, the way that all happened. He got to fourth down, and Dash is over there licking his chops, smiling at me like, yeah. And then they freaking scored a touchdown. And I left. They went into overtime, but I left because it was late. And I had to get back home. But I looked down and realized that LSU won, so I called him back up. And he said, I don't even want to talk to you.
I'm surprised he answered the phone.
Yeah, I was like, Dad, I just wanted to know if you were going to let me know that I was right. And he, beep, beep, beep. And I was like, all right, that's all right. It was a good one. Dad said, lies. No. See, Dad got to be careful. He can't tell me too much because I tell the whole world. That's what.
Hey, that's why people can't tell us much. We'll put it out on the podcast for everybody to hear. So, yeah,
it was a good thing though. But it was funny when he answered. He said, "I don't even want to talk to you right now."
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Next game, this one won't take very long to talk about. We got Ball State against Vanderbilt. This is at 7 Eastern on ESPN Plus. If Vanderbilt,
it would be the most Vanderbilt thing, bro. It would be the most Vanderbilt thing.
It really would. If they lose the Ball State after you knock off Alabama and Kentucky in back-to-back weeks, there's some real priority issues wrong in Vanderbilt's locker room. So Vanderbilt wins this game against Ball State.
I would have to agree with you. I love how, like, in the preseason we were making these picks, we were like, man, Vanderbilt has to win this game. Now they don't really have to, but it'd be a heartbreak if they didn't. But yeah, Vanderbilt wins this game pretty easily. Something else just happened. Misty has liked the show. Thank you so much on Facebook. We appreciate you for liking the show. All right. I'm starting to get these notifications. I'm trying to work with it so that we can get them more often. But thank you guys. We are trying to acknowledge anytime you guys help us out on the show. So
yeah, and also, we talked about the Facebook, and it's not popping up the names. What I'll probably do this week is like delete on our streaming service.
Redo the link. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, delete Facebook off of it and then redo the link and see if that helps out. But yeah, it's kind of annoying having to go over to Facebook just to see who comments. And I know y'all don't like putting your name on there. So we're trying our best to figure it out.
They don't have to. I mean, I've got the chat box pulled up on Facebook, but it does help you. I don't know if you have it up, so I didn't know.
Yeah, I try not to pull it up just because I do the graphics on this
side.
I do appreciate you having that pulled up over there. But
I got you, Bubba.
Biggest game of the weekend. College game day is here. Georgia traveling to Austin to play against Texas. 7:30 Eastern time on ABC. Who you got?
Yeah, so something we didn't mention, SEC Nation's actually going to Neyland this weekend.
Yep.
We did not throw that out there. So Paul Feinbaum might come out of his casket again. And if that happens, Tennessee's winning, just so you know.
Yep.
But Georgia, Texas, I've got a Texas fan right over here somewhere, so I don't want to hurt his feelings. But the way that this season's been going, I don't see a team getting unscathed. So I'm picking this truly because I don't think a team's going undefeated this year. And I don't really know how many more tests Texas has after this. I know they play Ole Miss, I believe. Maybe. Maybe. But give me Georgia because, it just seems like the way the season's been going, I don't think anybody's going undefeated this year. Texas looks to be far and away the best team in the nation, but Tennessee looked far and away better than Arkansas, and they didn't win. And Alabama looked far and away better than Vanderbilt, and they didn't win. And then Kentucky, I would say, still looked better than Vanderbilt, and they didn't win. Ole Miss looked far and away better than – they've lost 2 games now. Excuse me, but anyways – yeah, give me Georgia over Texas. No Ole Miss, says Justin. Who do they play in the season then? I know they play somebody else.
Well, you got Texas A&M in the last game of the season.
That might be the one I'm thinking of, but I thought they played somebody else that was.
They've got Vanderbilt in a couple of weeks. So.
I don't need to laugh about it. They're legit. All right. Anyways.
So you put this one on a tee for me then because
no, I didn't. You can't say that about a top 5 matchup.
Yeah, I sure can because I did say a couple weeks ago. I did say a couple weeks ago that I thought that Georgia would beat Texas, but look, Texas yesterday against Oklahoma absolutely bum rushed them. They just rolled right over them. It took Quinn Ewers a couple of drives to get into his groove after coming off that injury. I was putting in a chat with a couple of friends of mine that I feel like they might have to go back to Arch. Quinn Ewers just isn't comfortable yet, but Texas defense stepped up, got a couple of turnovers, and the Texas offense started rolling as soon as Quinn Ewers got comfortable. Texas is the one team in the SEC that has almost no questions about it right now. They have looked very consistent on both sides of the ball. Give me Texas in this game. They also get the game at home. Georgia has got a lot of question marks around them as well, just like a lot of the other teams in the SEC. So Texas is going to win this game, and they're going to remain undefeated for right now in the SEC as well as on the overall schedule.
Right on. Real quick, just a side note. Have you checked the private chat box? Have you sent a new link to Jake? He's having a hard time loading in.
I will go ahead and send him a link.
And I'm doing this. We're live, by the way. Sorry, we're not perfect, but I'm doing this also because we're about to do upset pick of the week, and I have not even looked at who's coming up. That's a 10-point dog, and I need to figure out who is. We got several options here that I'm looking at on right now on FanDuel. But yeah, if you could get that new link sent over to Jake, that would be awesome. He's been blowing me up saying, dude, I think I'm in, but it's not showing me in. And I'm like, well, you're not in. So let's just try to send the new link and see what we can do. But we're getting ready for upset pick of the week, which is kind of my favorite segment of the show.
We got one more game to pick, and then we'll be ready for that. So
that's right. It's what is the last one of the night?
Kentucky against Florida.
Oh, that's actually good. Why is that? That's not showing on my ESPN app. Is it 8 o'clock or 7:30?
It is at 7:45 Eastern on SEC Network. Also, Jake, I did just send you the link, so you can try that new one. There is a lot of intriguing matchups in the SEC this week, and this being one of the top ones, in my opinion. Give me Kentucky to go down to the Swamp and win this game. They have had Florida's number as of late. Their offense is not very good, but this defense, it is one of the best in the SEC. So give me Kentucky to go down and beat Florida in this game. I know, DJ Lagway looked good last night, and he is also very talented, but he is still a freshman. And I think that the Kentucky defense will take advantage of some of those freshman mistakes that he will make in the game. So give me Kentucky to go down and beat Florida in this game.
Nah, that's not going to happen. Florida's going to win this one. One, it's in the Swamp. Two, Mark Stoops is trash coach. And three, Stoops is a trash coach. And four, well, look, if Florida loses this game to Kentucky, Napier's gone. Bye-bye. See you later. He will probably get fired in the middle of the season. I don't see that happening. Florida's a solid team. I've already said this. Florida is a solid team. They got a really good defense, honestly. But they've lost to some stiff competition. Tennessee, I would say, is a stiff competition for sure. A&M, they're 5-1 right now as well. And then they've lost to Miami, who's undefeated. Now, we can argue whether or not they should be, but they are. So, I mean, Kentucky now is 0-3, I believe, in the SEC. Am I reading that right? No shot. Hang on. Let me go back
here. They are 1-3.
1-3. 1-3 in the SEC. I think they dropped to 1-4. And Stoops, I think, like I said, I kind of stick to my theme here. Kentucky athletic department's in shambles ever since they fired Cal. Because Cal and Stoops got in an argument over, basketball or football school. And Cal left, and now Stoops can't win. And we'll see how that all works out. But Florida will get the win here and end the 3-game misery streak that Kentucky has on them. So that's what I'm going with. Thank you for putting that one up on the tee for me. I appreciate that.
All right, not a problem. So, upset pick of the week time. And let's just take a look at these standings right here.
Let's do it.
I'll tell you what, man, you've been a covering machine so far this year as far as the games that you have picked covering. But the only bad thing is I got my upset pick game right last week as I picked Vanderbilt over Kentucky. And that was a 5-point play. So a little bit of a gap opening up there.
Bro is so good at giving himself a bone. I swear. That's awesome. I'm so proud of you. Yeah. For somebody who never got his upside pick of the week, I think last year at all.
3 so far this year.
Like, you didn't get a single one last year, and you've gotten freaking 3 this year. That's solid. That's worth a cookie.
Yeah. Or a round of golf, So.
Not yet. I mean, you got to win. I mean, we're only halfway through the season, boy, and you only got an 8-game lead. I mean, we could flip that script this week. So
That's very true because we only picked, so we picked 3 games the same this week.
Yeah,
so.
It's going to be a big movie. Screenshot taken. Hey, you better watch it. You better watch it, brother. You better watch it. All right, so guys, y'all can play along with us on this, by the way. If y'all want to kind of keep up with your points, y'all see how we do it. The losses don't really matter. We care about the wins because we don't like to talk about the losses. So let's see here. Are you ready? I'm sure you're ready for your upset pick of the week. I'm still kind of struggling. I've got a game in mind, but I'm kind of fighting demons if I want to pick it or not.
So yeah, I've got one just kind of looking through here. I was also struggling picking one, but I've got one that I think I like. Going out to the West Coast, we got SMU traveling to Stanford. Stanford is a 15.5-point home dog. SMU this year, the last couple of weeks, they've looked better, but they started off this season just not looking like a good team at all. And Stanford has been really giving teams trouble so far this season. They haven't quite pulled that game out yet, but I think it could happen in this game. So give me Stanford at home against SMU. That would be a top 25 upset, as SMU is ranked number 25 in this week's poll.
Solid pick there. Solid. I give you that one. So I want to choose one, but I know I never watched the game, so I don't want to choose it. But it's Old Dominion over Texas State. It's a 10.5-point dog, and I do think Old Dominion could absolutely pull that off. If you remember, Old Dominion beat South Carolina earlier in the year. However, I would not watch that game, even if I chose it. So I don't want to pick that one. Let's keep looking here. Not picking UAB over South Florida, even though it's a 13.5-point differential, but I'm not betting against Alex Golish. So we're not going to do that. NC State over Cal kind of came up. NC State a 10.5-point dog, but Cal beat Auburn. NC State's not really looked good ever since the loss to Tennessee, and I don't really think they looked good before then either. So I'm going to stay away from that one. And then, man, I'm so prepared for this. Holy crap.
Ball State over Vanderbilt?
No, not doing that. I got you one. Right. One, because it would be a massive upset. It is a top 11. Wait, they're not ranked 11th? We're ranked 11th, I thought. Maybe FanDuel hasn't updated it. All right, I'm taking UCF over Iowa State. 13.5-point dog. UCF, I think they got to go. Look, Iowa State, they've had some big wins, but I just think that this is a good slip-up spot for him. And UCF's got some players, and if they sleep on UCF, they could absolutely get burnt. So give me UCF. Give me the Auburn head coach out there. Give me KJ Jefferson as long as he's healthy and not turning the ball over. Yeah, give me UCF.
Yeah, and first off, guys, for anybody that is a new listener, this is not the gambling part of the show. Do not put any money on these games because we are statistically not good at this overall. As far as now we're
purposely trying to find a 10-point dog and seeing who we think can win. Yeah. It's not like we're betting on this. It's just like that's our best chance of what we think could be an upset. And I think an upset is not really an upset if they're within a touchdown or we consider it single digits. Because that to me is not a massive upset. So we think of a 10-point dog that could go in and actually get the outright upset. So that's what we pick on here.
Yeah. So that is upset pick of the week. And now it's time to go Rakin with Jake, man. But before we do that, you want to give us our sponsor for the Rakin with Jake segment?
I can, but you're going to have to give me a second because I got to hang on. I've been swapping back and forth. My phone's been just blowing up real quick. But we got it right here. Our Rakin with Jake sponsor is Reed Bryant State Farm. Whether you're looking for auto, home, renters, or life insurance, Reed Bryant provides you with personalized coverage options that fit your unique requirements. Their team is always available to answer any questions you may have to assist you in finding the perfect insurance solutions. At Reed Bryant State Farm, they understand the importance of safeguarding what matters most to you so you can focus on enjoying the game without worrying about the unexpected events. To reach out to Jake directly, who's about to be on a show, reach out to him at Jake, Jake, @East tninsurance.com, or give their office a call at 865-457-1505. Again, that's 865-457-1505. And without further ado, let's bring on Jake Arnold with Rakin with Jake. What's up, my guy? Do we have audio? Are you here, brother? We do not have audio. Click that mic. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We like to double check, though, triple check, make sure that you click that microphone button, pull up that arrow, make sure we get the audio input right.
I muted myself. That's what it was.
Yeah, it's okay, but we're here.
No big
We're
deal.
here.
No big deal.
How are
Guys,
you doing, brother?
I mean, I think that score's wrong. Am I 19-6 or am I 19-5?
Oh, we calling out the producer. We're calling out the producer.
It was 16-4 last time.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay. Oh man.
Came in muted, came in firing at the producer, and
guys,
it was wrong. That's crazy.
You know, as a defensive coach, guys, I'm going to take that theme and segue into the entire segment. You know, it is unreal. I want to take a recap because obviously I was out last week, but you know, guys, we went 3-2 last week. You know, hard one. Looking at a lot of what we did is we got Michigan wrong. We got the Syracuse wrong. Just remind me to never bet on anything that is, you know, late at night ball in Vegas. You know, that's just disgusting. So did a little bit more of a gut check here. I mean, we're in week 7. There's a lot of statistics out there for people to get keys and kind of understand. And I had a buddy of mine text me in a group message. I hope he's watching. But, you know, the thing that we said is this is week to week. It is not guaranteed. I was actually looking at total offense. We're still at number 9 in total offense through 7 weeks, and we're acting like there's an issue. The issue is we're not converting in the end zone. And so, again, it goes back to red zone play. It goes back to why Missouri was top 10. Missouri was, you know, last year, they were probably 80% in the red zone. It was some outlier, and they were just very effective. So going into it, guys, I want to start with the first pick, which again, I'm going in order of confidence now, but the one that I have is the Wisconsin -6.5 at Northwestern. Now you can go with any of them, but that's the. So guys, I said back in week 5 that Wisconsin's probably the best 2-2 football team in the country at that time. They're 26 in total defense, still after losing 48 or 43-10 to Alabama. Back when Alabama, younger in the season, again, I've noticed a trend for studying for these picks that teams are starting to score less and less and less and less. Arkansas shows that very well. Going back, and I'll talk about that later. But once again, guys, Northwestern, you know, they're I get it. It's at Northwestern. This should be a 10-point favorite without question. This would be one that, you know, I can't imagine them really only giving 6.5. And I would love to hear how the line shift because it always does.
Actually, this one is still the same, -6.5. So
yeah, again,
I bet on it.
Man, Northwestern, I mean, they're not a bad ball team. It's just they're playing in a Big Ten that's kind of been tiered. I think you're starting to see that right now as there's certain teams that have tiered up and tiered down this season. Kentucky's a one pick that we'll talk about here in a minute that I think is you know, the quote I'm trying to look for, the terminology is lose the locker room. So you don't want to lose the locker room in week 7. And there's a lot of teams starting to get there. Wisconsin is not one of them. Northwestern, I've not even really looked at what they have going on, but I can say that I have it right pulled up and I am scrolling, and they are not even in the 40s for total offense. They're not going to be able to score. Wisconsin is really good. They're not going to allow anything on the board, and I know they can score. Their quarterback production's great. So, you know, that's a give me. Second one is Michigan and Illinois, and this one is personal testimony, fellas. This is the first time I can draw some parallels. There's guys out there that I still recruited. So Luke Altmaier, the starting quarterback for Illinois, is out of Starkville High School. So when I was out in Scuba, he was a guy that, you know, East wanted. Obviously, he was looking all over the place, looking at Ole Miss, and he's now at Illinois, man, and he's a gamer. Don't get me wrong, but again, it's about that tier system. Illinois has played some decent ball so far. They've gotten it done. They've done what teams need to do to get to bowl games. But it's a long season. Attrition happens. So you got to look top to bottom. I kept saying, you know, I went to the game yesterday for Tennessee. Kept saying to my dad last night, I said, man, this is a game of attrition. We're just slowly choking them out, and it's hard to watch because things really didn't go our way in certain situations. But I mean, if you watch the game maxims, read the 7-game maxims, what's to be done. Things won't go your way. Things will go your way, and so. I just think, again, Michigan has too many weapons to win football games, whether that's just the serviceability of all position units. Illinois is just not there on depth. There's too much that you can throw at. So Michigan -1.5 at Illinois is a give. I would say that one's probably more confident than Wisconsin.
Right on. Leanne, real quickly, Leanne, thank you for liking the show on Facebook. We appreciate you big time. It's me is back. He says again, Bama is ready.
I've already said they are not, but neither is Tennessee yet. So.
Hang on. There's more to that story in this segment, and I cannot wait to get there.
Oh, yeah.
So what's that third pick you got going for us, Jake?
Man, it goes back to Kentucky at Florida, man. I mean, Florida is a wild card. They're a team that, you're drawing your cards to play some poker, and you just pulled a joker, and you're like, what do I call this? What do I call this situation? I have no idea what to think of Florida. I have no idea what.
How do you know what to think of Kentucky?
You know what to think of Kentucky. That's the problem. Kentucky
They're
is
trash.
They're not necessarily. They're bad. They're a bad SEC team.
I mean, I get it. Vanderbilt's better than a lot of people give them credit, but
Vanderbilt still. I mean, Vanderbilt capitalized on NIL. They've gotten some good defensive key pieces, and they've got guys who are flexible in coaching. But think about what's going on. Sam Pittman is breaking through because he's got a revived quarterback room, and they're going back. Arkansas is at 8 in total offense. Okay, Arkansas is at 8 in total offense. So think about what these teams are doing. Kentucky, they're terrible. Offensively, they are awful. They are not good. They cannot conserve the ball. They can't do anything that they want to do. And losing to Vanderbilt loses the locker room. It bleeds into weeks following. You can see it with Alabama. There's a lot of things because once you have what would be a severe problem operationally, you think of 5, 6, 7 ways to figure it out. So I got to revamp my run game. I got to revamp, how I want to bring my segments to an elongate indie drill. So, we're working more on catching the jugs. It's just there's so much that you have to work on in a day-to-day that standard's hard to meet from program to program. So again, with Kentucky, at Florida, I want to regurgitate that at Florida and think, it's hard for us, Tennessee, to go to at Florida just because of humidity. Dude, Kentucky, are you kidding me? Think about what that game is recently.
They have won 3 in a row against Florida.
That's what I was going to get. That's what I was going to get to. Does that play into a factor at all for you?
No. It goes back to the thing, I listen to a lot of other podcasts. A lot of people were talking about whatever reset theory is. There's no such thing as reset theory. What it is it's a team and it's an ebb and flow. You can essentially see from grading that Tennessee is an A-tier program with a young and inexperienced quarterback, but all around other than O-line, they are great. They're great. There's nothing you can complain about. And everybody wants to complain, and that can go, I guess, to the final pick since y'all want to, get me fired up about Tennessee now. I'm taking Tennessee money line.
Let's go.
It's
money line.
We
don't care about the 2.5.
Yeah, no, it's a field goal. What happened last time we had a field goal? Just think about what these games are. It's not a line. It's not points. It's about what teams do. Okay. Do you know what Heupel loves? Press man coverage with 1 high safety. Do you know what no team is doing? Press man coverage with 1 high safety. When they do it, it's kind of a hybrid. They're playing what I think is called coffee house technique, where they're going to spy it. That was one of the picks that Nico threw. It was beautiful. Oh my gosh. I'm just going to give this to Billy Napier because that pick that Nico threw was disgusting. That guy baited him so hard. Nico telegraphed it a little bit. But again, if you look at what's going on, Alabama has scored fewer points every single week. Every single week. Go look. And it's not that they're playing anything that's too serious. They're just playing SEC ball. Okay? So, Sellers went, 23 for 31, 111 QBR. Sellers is a guy who they allowed him to just push it out. Play that ball. Going back to Kentucky at Florida, I feel confident. Graham Mertz shows you why that can be successful. we kind of played the same type of ball last night as Graham Mertz did, or as Billy Napier played against us, where at least in the passing game somewhat, everybody wants to think of the high points because no two people are ever going to call the same game. But, there was a lot of, switches. There was a little bit of crossing from tight ends. There were some screens to get out in perimeter, and the run game stayed true to what it was. So you honor front. So, I mean, there wasn't anything that I thought was insane to me from what I saw out of Tennessee. I didn't think anything was just absolutely awful. But we're starting to see that the one loss Arkansas is that's a way better loss than people realize. It was at Arkansas. Sam Pittman had all day.
Yeah, and speaking of this, you did skip over this game, but we also you got Arkansas money line.
Oh yeah, man, I'm big on Arkansas right now. Arkansas's got, it's at Arkansas.
If
LSU,
they don't turn the ball over, they win this game.
It's that easy, and we're getting to the point where you're going to see it less and less. Okay, it's hurting right now. I'm looking at Arkansas and I'm looking at LSU. This would be one I would definitely be interested in, but LSU has the number 6 passing offense right now, and Arkansas is the number 8 total offense. So, I mean, these two teams are going to score on each other completely, but they're still, only passing the ball. I trust Arkansas to have an edge outside of Nussmeier. I mean, everybody's really big on Nussmeier because he has all these touchdowns. Again, he's getting it to hit. That's what Tennessee avoided, last night, is they just couldn't have the big ones to hit. Squirrel dropped the ball. It looked more and more like Squirrel could have brought that down. And so we're having a completely different scenario. And do we not want to talk about that laser that was thrown on a must-get third down to Squirrel where the foot's in? That's anybody who has any more height. I mean, any more length.
Are you talking about this? Are you talking about last night?
Oh my gosh. I mean, it just goes
it right on the sideline where they thought it was incomplete. And then,
yeah, I mean, what was it? I was looking at somebody. Oh gosh, who was it? It was Quinn Ewers. It was a common opponent for Quinn Ewers, and it was a good one. I can't remember who it was, but Nico only had like 30 less yards and one less attempt. It's kind of funny is you're keeping everything you can control in front of you, and you have to let a kid who's getting paid whatever X amount of dollars to understand that there's other guys getting paid X amount of dollars to do their job as well. I mean, that was first thing on the turnover. Turnover looked to be RPO. And from what I saw, I watched it in a couple different angles. It seemed like in the mesh point, Nico saw it, and he did, because Nico's sneaky fast. I mean, if they don't call a hold on every single third down, every single third, but you don't want him to run all the time. That's what fans are getting mad about, is fans are like, we want him to roll out all the time. Well, why would you do that? What we don't want linebackers who can go to the outside. We want to bring them down. So they need to either side roll or midline. That midline where they just straighten and sit and make a backer pick a hollow. It's just basically playing basketball at that point. But that's what Hawkins can do for Arkansas, man. I mean, he's a gamer. Jackson Dart could even be the better quarterback. Not Jackson Dart, gosh. Jackson Arnold could be the better quarterback. But again, I mean, you hit when the iron's hot, and Arkansas is doing it. And so just again, LSU, they got it. They got it hard for them. They really, really do. Arkansas paid their dues, and they're ready to roll.
Yeah. Right. So just running back through the picks, Jake has picked Wisconsin -6.5, Michigan -1.5, Arkansas on the money line against LSU, Florida -2.5, and Tennessee money line against Alabama for this weekend. And
one thing I like about his picks is the favorites that he chose, he's choosing to cover. And the underdogs that he chose, he's also choosing to cover and to win outright.
Yeah.
Just like a little extra, just sprinkling a little bit in there.
Yeah,
hopefully.
if you need that extra, 50 cents to $1, depending on how much you're betting. I mean, just go ahead and get it.
If I get an extra quarter out of that dime, I'm a happy camper on that bet. Those 10-cent bets. Oh man, but no, it's fun, man. I'm super excited. I think that I think everybody tends to forget what type of ball we're playing right now, man. I mean, we're in the gauntlet. We're in the daggum gauntlet, and it doesn't get any easier. So
yeah, and just a reminder, guys, if you do have a gambling problem, reach out to the hotline 1-800-889-9789. Be sure that you don't bet money that you don't have. you only do what you have, what you can afford to lose. So just make sure if you do have to reach out to that hotline, please do so.
1-800-GAMBLER. Jake, dude, thank you so much for joining the show yet again. And we're going to stay hot, dude. We got to keep making that money, dude, because I've been playing on the same money that I have deposited in my account back in like January. So let's keep it rolling, dude. And thank you, as always, for joining us. And we appreciate you, brother.
Absolutely appreciate y'all.
All right, man. See you later.
See ya.
All right. As we close out, we had somebody join the YouTube, and we appreciate you. Another Robert. Robert, we appreciate you for joining in. Panic? I think he's talking about our title here. He said, Panic? Why? First 3 games, we averaged 60 points against lesser opponents. Let's be honest here. Nico's 600 yards against Kent State. It's Kent State. Loses to Arkansas, not Kent State. Outplayed by Florida, not Kent State. Alabama this weekend, not Kent State. I don't know what he means by not Kent State and all these, but 5 of the 7 games in Knoxville, that is something to be looking forward to here. I don't really know what he's getting at here, but I think he kind of is in line with us. I mean, we're not really panicking. I mean, we got past Florida. We knew it was going to be ugly. We've never blown out Florida. That line at 16.5 was absurd. I mean, I made money on that. I absolutely took Florida in the points. Like, there was no way I was choosing Tennessee to cover that.
Yeah. Can I be real about the title, though? That's literally just a catchy title to try to get people to view. So none of us are panicking. So,
I mean, but it's a fair question.
Yeah.
Because there are fans that are pissed off, that are ready to bench Nico. I mean, like, I heard it firsthand last night. Like, Nico's just not the guy. It's time to move on. I mean, it sounded just like after Milton played the first 4 games. And, I mean, look, guys, there's no reason to panic here. Jeremiah tunes in. The week before last, I mixed my favorite picks with Jake's, and it hit. That a boy.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
that's what I'm talking about.
I've got one.
We do not want you to parlay those picks, by the way.
Do not parlay those. So because Jake has proven to pick winners, but he consistently goes 4-1. He did have 1, 3, and 2,
which would be 0-1 if you parlayed it. So
yeah, exactly. One more thing that I have, just a shout out to the College Huddle, because the College Huddle, they recruited us. And we have got to meet some outstanding people through our streaming services doing collabs. Skylar got to meet one of our College Huddle members in person yesterday.
In his family,
picture. This right. is Daniel from the Gator Truth podcast, who we had on with us last week. He actually went down to the Vol Navy yesterday on the boat with Skylar and him. Got to meet him and his family. I mean, Skylar, tell us how that went, man.
Dude, Daniel and his family were just awesome. They got up on the boat. I knew immediately who they were, and I said, man, the only way you can be on this boat is if you can handle this. And I blasted Rocky Top throughout our surround sound system, and they took it so well. They were very good sport. I think it was like his sister. Somebody sang along with it. I was like, that's what it's all about. Like it's all in good fun. They got a cold one. I think some of them didn't drink, so we got them some sodas and whatnot. I mean, just. Overall, total nice guy. We took a lot of slack because Restoration One, my company that put this on together, our colors for the company is blue and orange. So like people thought that, somehow we were Florida fans, which was garbage. But just great people, very genuine. Got to meet the family. They came out. They got to enjoy the game. I told them beforehand, I'm like, dude, I hope y'all enjoy this. I said, because y'all are going to beat us later and really enjoy it. Like, we all had some good fun, some good jokes. Now, thankfully, they did not get the win. We did survive, but man, it's just Florida. I always had that mind. It's that BVS, bro. But overall, they were really good people. So glad that the College Huddle has put us in a position to connect with other fans, and there's no toxicity. It's truly respect, because I can be honest with you, like I mean, even with the football teams, that's something we haven't even talked about. It was fairly respectable game. Like, nobody was throwing punches. Everybody, I mean, there was some jawing, don't get me wrong, I seen it, but for the most part, everybody was calm and played a football game, what it's all about. And yeah, you hear it from here. Very good dude. This is my mom, I believe, Misty. Justin, I believe, said nice guy, or maybe that's Misty. I can't see it. I turned off my daggone Facebook chat, but anyways, very, very good dude, very good family. And they stayed there till basically kickoff. So I think they were enjoying themselves. If I'm wrong, by all means, Daniel, you can get on here and not correct me.
Yeah. Daniel actually sent me a message late last night. He said he had a fantastic time up there.
That's what I'm talking about.
So he said he loves coming up to Neyland. But Daniel is our good luck charm. He said, I think there's only been one time that he's actually come to Neyland that Florida has won the game. So anytime Daniel comes to Neyland, we can pretty much guarantee it's a win for us. So
that's what I'm talking about. Keep on coming back, brother. I'll keep giving you some beer and stuff. Like, that's fine.
Yeah. But anyways, appreciate all of you tuning in today. I had to kind of suffer through the game a little bit last night, come out with the win. But guys, it's Bama Hate Week. And we are looking forward to the third Saturday in October. So, Skylar, anything else before we end out here?
Yes, correction. So when I pulled it up, I seen the initial M next to Facebook user, but that is Jeremy. So thank you. So Daniel, definitely a solid dude. And then Justin said, nice guy. So thank you, Justin, for that. Thank you, everybody that's been here on the show. We've got 8 people on Facebook. Please like and share the show. Even though we're about to wrap up the show, they can catch the replay and watch it at their own expense. And then we still have 5 people in the YouTube. We thank everybody for chatting. We had 2 or 3 more new chatters on YouTube. And we're trying to get these notifications to work to where when you like or share the stream, we see it and we can shout you out for that, because it truly does help us out. And we really appreciate you during, NFL football to spend your Sunday afternoon after church, listen to us talk some ball. Yes, we are a little concerned. However, we beat Florida. We are not panicking. We are 5-1 going into the third Saturday in October, which we can only say that we've done that or better, like maybe 2 or 3 times in the last 15 years. I know in the 2016 year, we were pretty good, but guys, we are right where we want to be. All right. Right where we pretty much expected to be. Cause a lot of people thought that we would lose to Oklahoma, but beat Arkansas. You just swapped those 2. All right. Everything is still out in front of us. We just got to be better on offense. Our defense, stay consistent. Bama is beatable. Bama is beatable. Let's just do our freaking job and take care of the ball.
Absolutely. So, guys, have a great week. Enjoy Bama Hate Week, and go Big Orange.